Hello, I'm Dan Genovese, Director of Consulting at EnerCom, and I'm joined today by Maumus Claverie. He's the Chief Operating Officer of Remote Gauge, and he will be presenting at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Time, Thursday, February 17th at the Energy Venture Investment Summit on the campus of Colorado School of Mines. Really excited. He's going to be kicking off the day for us. Maumus, welcome.
Thank you, Dan. We're
You bet.
excited to be there as well and excited to kick it off. Can't wait to
Yeah,
do it.
listen, I think it's going to be a great presentation. And I want for the viewers today, if you can just give an overview of what Remote Gauge does.
So we have developed a sensor system that is basically the cost-effective replacement for one of these, a hand gauge. Anyone who's still measuring an oil tank with a rock and a string is doing that for an economic reason. And we have solved the puzzle of how to replace that with an electronic system. There's one right here on this side behind me that is cost effective.
And it also it's able to be powered by solar. Is that correct?
Part of the way we take the cost out of it is that it is self-powered. It's a completely self-contained system. Everything you need to measure a tank is on that little table behind me. It is solar powered by itself. There's no installations and conduit running and connected to power out at a remote location. And it talks to a satellite. So we don't have to know whether you've got Verizon or AT&T or anything like that. If it can see the sky, it can get power and it can talk home.
Okay, and it's connectivity, and a customer can view that their data, as much as they want 24/7 on a web-based platform. Is that correct?
Exactly. We made it web-based so we could eliminate the need for apps and downloads and all that sort of thing. Any web-connected device can go right to the page and see all of the satellite reports that are coming in all day long.
Yeah, and I know one of the questions I always ask folks that I interview is, what problem do you solve for the customer? You held up that hand gauge. Uh, Obviously, that's technology that's been around for a long time. But what are the trappings? We see and we know what's been going on in the market. What's the advantages of a tank monitoring system that's digital, that's advanced, that you can see the accurate data 24/7?
Right. Well, accuracy is certainly important. The reality is a good gauger can get accurate to within about 1/4 of an inch. Our system is accurate to 1/10 of an inch. The main thing is the gauger or the pumper, the field person is there at best once a day. So what's going on the other 23 and a half hours? And that's what is so important about an electronic system in place all the time, measuring 24/7. And the way we do it is alert when something happens, when there's a reason to send a satellite message. And the customer defines the reason. It can be, by default, it'll measure once a day. It'll measure all day. It'll transmit once a day in the morning at 7 a.m. That's the
Report time.
report time for daily production. And then it'll report when the tank gets 80% full. This is out of the box defaults. It'll report anytime fluid's leaving the tank. And that, of course, is crucial for custody transfer. When oil is leaving that tank, you want to know precisely how much. You also want to know what temperature it is, which we do very accurately as well.
Yeah, and now who are your customers? Kind of define that market. I mean, clearly anybody that's out there that's still measuring their tank, kind of with the old rock and string. What does that universe of tanks look like out in the market?
Well, of the 4.5 million oil field storage tanks in the continental US, probably about 1 million of them already have some sort of electronic device measuring the fluid levels. So the other 3.5 million that are being measured by hand are our target market. And the customer is either the producer themselves or the service companies that are servicing, that have some part of the chain of custody of that oil. Anyone who is going up on that tank, climbing that catwalk, opening that thief hatch, exposing themselves to the emissions, measuring by hand is doing it for a specific reason, and doing it for that purpose at that time. We can remove all of that exposure to danger, all of that cost, all of that inaccuracy in the system, to the benefit of the producer, the hauler, the buyer, the saltwater disposal company, all of the other suppliers that need that information, or that do business with the producer. They're all our customers, and they all get different benefit out of this level of reporting and accuracy and frequency of measurement.
Yeah. In addition to the accuracy, I mean, what does this do for just trip times? Trip turns in terms of sending somebody out, labor cost savings, truck and fuel savings. I mean, is this something that a customer is going to be able to realize by installing remote gauge?
So we get that question a lot. How do I pay for this thing? And the answer is so simple. The first level is windshield time, right? Just straight up reduction in that. If a pumper can go to the well site every other day or every third day instead of every day, you've already saved twice what the system costs on a monthly basis. And the way we've designed it, there is no capital expense up front. That's been a foundational requirement to everything we've done. And it's taken a long time to develop this patented system because we wanted to make sure that it wouldn't require an installation crew. We have a 3-minute video on how to install it, and you can install it more quickly than you can actually watch the video. So it's a very simple system to put in place with zero expense. And then we actually charge $300 a month for it. So that's $10 a day. So think of it as $10 a trip out there to measure the tank once. The windshield time alone, I mean, right now for gas, you can't do that for $10.
Right.
So then there's the accuracy, there's the custody transfer reporting, there's all the other things, the safety issues, climbing catwalks in all kinds of weather, opening those hatches, being exposed to all those both explosive and potentially lethal gases. There's so many other benefits that stack on top of that. That it's as far as the financial picture, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, so it's a big market. If I'm an investor, what can I expect, and what are you looking for in terms of investment into remote gauge?
Well, we expect a substantial return on our investment for all of this development, because we're the only system that is we call it tank top to desktop. We supply the equipment at no cost to the customer, fully warranted. If it breaks, we replace it. And all the way to presenting the information to the customer. That's the most important part. That's what they really need, is the information itself.
Right.
There are 3.5 million tanks as our potential market, and the value proposition to the customer is huge, no matter which customer it is, whether it's the producer who can avoid the windshield time, whether it's we even have haulers that are thrilled about this because it can eliminate two of their most expensive problems: turn downs, where a load is turned down because it's got too much water under it, and we measure how much water is under the oil, and then short loads, where they're called out for what they're told is a full tank, and they get there and there's only half a truckload. They're going to lose money on that load, and that happens a lot, particularly at the end of the month. But so the investor can expect a pretty sharp ramp to growth here once we can really launch this thing, which is about middle of this year. We've got it in production right now, and with all the chip delays and whatnot, we're expecting to really ramp up production here shortly. So we're looking right now for $20 million, which we expect by the end of 24 will generate between 50 and 80 million of total revenue and about 50 million of net. So there's a great return here. We've made some conservative projections about the ramp up. more really based on production capability than on the sales growth. And that can be a mixture. We would like it to be a mixture of equity and debt, because what we do is borrow some money to build the equipment and then put the equipment out on this monthly revenue stream.
Okay. Well, it sounds like a great opportunity for investors. Sounds like a great opportunity if you're still sticking tanks manually. It sounds like a great opportunity there as well. So I just want to remind everybody, register for the Energy Venture Investment Summit coming up here next week, and set up a time to meet with Maumus, talk about remote gauge, find out a little bit more. Again, he will be presenting 8:30 a.m. He's our opening pitch, Mountain Time, Thursday, February 17th. Maumus, thank you for joining us. Look forward to meeting you next week here at the summit.
Likewise, Dan. We'll see you there.
All right, bye-bye.